Good morning and welcome to the channel, to our video. Rivka Carmeli, and today we are going to talk about the sixth message or the sixth lesson. Do you remember we had before the weekend we got to our fifth one, which was time, and we had Eliyahu who is helping us to discuss that particular subject of time. We had the circle of crystals in the lesson number 4. That was to do with a lot of healing, and we said we'll get back to it when we do the shamanic workshops, the spirit wheel shamanic workshops. We learn about compassion, and we remember that every time we're learning about something or we're bringing some subject up, it doesn't mean that we know all the answers, and there's a lifetime of learning and discovery to continue on each one. We talked about protection, which was lesson number 2, which was about how to turn on our light and be aware and awake, which is our biggest protection, because it tells us where to go and it tells us where to be, and we listen to our intuition and become more intuitive and more awake and more aware of what's happening. Doesn't mean we can change things necessarily, but we definitely can change where we are and how we react to it. And the first one was what you send, what is what you receive, what's inside is out, what's up is down, and that was our first lesson of the wow. So today we are talking about responsibility, and it took me many years. Like I learned healing and kinesiology and Ayurvedic and homeopathy and all sorts of stuff, and I did all sorts of things. And of course I started my life as a dancer, so I traveled the world in different places before I arrived here, and struggle with things like how I feel about being who I am, and how where and things that happened to me, and why do I feel like this, and why do I feel like that, and many years were this guy did this to me, or this person did that to me, or now I feel like this because such and such said such and such, and all that. And it took a long time to realize that the responsibility is us. How do we choose to react to any situation? And to understand that we would not be in that situation most of the time if we listen to our intuition, because our intuition tells us it is our responsibility to listen to our intuition, where to be, how to behave, what to eat, what exercise to do, every single minute. And of course, I'm not saying that it's possible for everyone. I'm I can't always do it, but I learned that when something happened and I twisted my ankle, or I got bitten by an ant, or whatever, I'm just talking about the small things, I would have known before, and I chose to be there. So it is my responsibility. It's not the poor ant. I don't have to go and squash it. It's just I should listen to my intuition, and I don't always. Now the whole thing for me, each one of those lessons were given as a word, or as an understanding, as an awakening at some stage in my life, and I don't necessarily understood. I didn't necessarily understood it at the time. It was something that came way later. I just want to show you my crazy book quickly. This is my very crazy book that has so many of my lessons at times, and it's a very old book. It's fallen completely to pieces, but there are still a few empty pages to write more things in it. And every once in a while, when I have something to do with my lessons, I will write it in this book, just so I have it all in one place, even though it's completely falling apart. And I have my little piece of paper with all the lessons somewhere that I can look at it almost every day. And yes, I'm a very messy person, so forgive me. Anyway, so this particular lesson, and again, it took me years to remember it. I remember it after doing a course, a few workshops and a course in kinesiology, and I was doing an exchange working on each other with Birgit, and I was on the table and she did whatever it is we were learning at the time, and suddenly I had the memory, and oh my God, it hit me. And it explained so much. It explained why I react to certain things, why I don't like somebody at my back, why I don't, why I don't like certain places. Or it really explained a lot about how, and I was like, whoa. And I knew that I have the possibility to choose how I react to those things from now on, because I understand it's my responsibility. And the memory was so clear. I remember being up in the ceiling, sitting cross legs, and looking down at my body lying on the massage table. I was just with my undies. I was about 11 years old, more or less. And the person that was supposed to obviously fix or help my body, I had some injury from dancing. The person that was supposed to do that was lying on top of me in some way and was rubbing his bits sort of on my bum, I suppose. And I was not in the body. And I could see him. I could see the room. I could see through the walls. I was looking like, what am I doing there? What is that? This is me down there. And what's going on? I could see through the walls. I could see my mother standing outside. She was having a cigarette and she was leaning on the wall with I can even think it was her left leg was up against the wall and she was sort of leaning on it. And I could see the street. I could see everything. I had the perspective of seeing everything from up high. And I remember that the word was given as responsibility. And I had a great explanation, and I don't remember all the explanation, but later on, like I said, when I woke up and went, whoa, I remember, and remembered all that, I also remember the bits and pieces of explanation, which is what we just talked about a few minutes ago, about how we have a choice to look at every situation and make something out of it that's not necessarily what the society wants us to make of it, or the mother or the father or us, by being influenced by other things. But we always have a choice, and the responsibility is to ourselves. We need to be responsible for how we choose and what reaction we have. And I know it's a really, really hard thing to say, because in this particular incident, you can say he raped her, and like she didn't have a choice. No, I was 11 years old. I was lying on the thing, and I don't have a choice in that particular thing. But I did have a choice how to take it, what to learn from it. What am I going to do with my body from now on? Am I going to be a victim from now on? Or am I going to see it, know that that was not right? It came from something that this person went through, did, he liked, whatever. I don't know. I don't care. I don't even know who it was. But for me, I could step out of it, and my life would have a choice to, from now on, be fearful, scared, hateful, angry, all that. Or I can be amazingly joyful, full of life. I can dance my pain away. And in a sense, that was somehow what I tried to do. I didn't remember this. I think once somehow I was back in my body, and I don't remember that part. I didn't remember any of it until years and years later. And I know it affected me in a sense that I was a very angry person, and it just made me probably angrier. And I was a very, I felt that no one loved me, and all sorts of other things as a child. And I think it just made it worse. But I made certain choices that maybe I wouldn't have made them if this didn't happen. So when I was 16, I left and I went to Sweden and I had a scholarship and I became more and more into dancing, and I was dancing in companies and I traveled the world, and it took me a long time to remember that particular lesson, but I feel that I was working on that lesson, even not remembering that particular thing. Something inside me pushed me forward to find happiness within myself, to find where I belong, where I want to be, where is the place in the world that makes me happy, and therefore be able to give for myself more and be a better person. So this lesson of responsibility is, for me, I always, all those lessons, I can only give you my perspective, and there is plenty of room for discussion, and there's plenty of room for other ideas and other people's point of view. I can only talk about the lessons that I got and how, in a sense, it got me to where I am, to be able to do healing, to be in love with the world and in love with the earth, and in love with what I'm doing, and come from love for every little thing that's around, and be able to grow and help the world grow the way I see it, and help Earth to recover, and hopefully help people, and give as much as I can give every day. And so it helped me, and this is what I'm trying to share. Anyway, with all my love, I hope this awaken helped jolt something in someone, gave strength. I'm sending you my love. Please, if you know anyone that might help, share it. You can share it anywhere you want. This is free and open. And like, subscribe, leave comments, and I thank you for listening.